In a galaxy far, far away, there exists a group of fierce and fabulous women who are on a mission to explore the depths of pop culture. They are the Galactic Gals, and they are here to take you on a journey through the cosmos of entertainment. From the latest TV shows and movies to a trip down the Milky Way of nostalgia, they will delve into the worlds of fantasy and imagination, bringing you insights and analysis that are out of this world. So buckle up, cosmonauts, and get ready to blast off with the Galactic Gals Pop Culture Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Galactic Gals episode. I have no idea what episode this is now. I've lost count. But today we're talking about the second episode of the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, Wild Blue Yonder. And I have a full house today with my co-host Night Owl, Retro Doc, and our special guest, the Mega Geek, also seen on Type 40. So he's decided to join us today. Jason may be on later. Dealing with some technical difficulties, but we have
50% male representation today.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's called Galactic Gals. So we're not misandrist here, unlike Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Oh,
so we were. I don't know what the right word is. Treated, because it's not unless you're being treated in a mental hospital. But we did get to see Wild Blue Yonder yesterday, so we're treated to that. And so we're going to go around the room and kind of everybody give their thoughts on the episode. But before we start, I just want to thank Jason for, again, this beautiful poster that he makes for us every week. And
yes,
we're back to
thank
basics.
you, Jason, for this point of view.
We're back to basics today with the two chicks on the cover. So. Last week it was a TARDIS on fire, so we're gonna go around the room. And
I want to see this as a series. I want to see this art transformed into a series.
And see what people say. This is interesting when people say that. Oh, cool. Okay, Jason's here. when people say that, men don't want sci-fi with women in it, that is simply not true. They just want sci-fi with women in it that's well written, that doesn't make fun of men, right?
Yep.
Well,
So-
it looks like this, then yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I think
Jason, how are you doing?
sexuality being kicked out of women's stuff, isn't it? They're not allowed to be sexy anymore. It's
No.
yeah. Sorry, Jason. Is he there?
Are you there? Okay, 1 minute. He's working on it.
Being
He's working on getting on here.
Being
properly.
sexy is not offensive.
Well, you'd think it is today, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be, though.
No, it shouldn't be. As I said,
Yeah.
When you go back in time, there were a lot of sexy women on TV and on screen. Raquel Welch, Linda Carter, Lindsay Wagner. They're all cute and cute. And yeah, we were all in love with them. Well, I was anyway.
Absolutely.
And
Unapologetically.
Right, and I don't think me and Michelle ever, like, I can't speak for Michelle, but I'm assuming she feels the same way I do. I didn't have a problem with that. I don't feel like that's a problem. I think, I like to see sexy men too, like Henry Cavill and, Jensen Ackles. I like to see masculine men on TV and and I think that's normal. I think you're normal if you want that. Yes, Robert Conrad from Wild Wild West.
Yeah. Yes, Robert Conrad, yes.
Yes. So, okay, so we're going to go around the room and we're going to discuss this episode. And if you want to discuss the positives first, that's fine. It's really up to you. I really think last week we did that, but I think this week, whatever your thoughts are, it's fine. Even if it's all negative, you can do that. If it's all positive, that's fine too. Mine will probably be mostly negative. I'm just going to give you a spoiler, but whatever you guys want to do. So let's start. Let's start with the obvious, but
Oh yeah, really? I mean, did we have to change the words? I mean, gravity to mavity. I'm like, wow. But yeah, that threw me for a loop. And when they were sitting in the top of the tree, I knew that, oh yeah, they're going to do something about gravity. And sure enough, they did, which was fine. But I'm like, wow.
But why did they have this though in the beginning of the episode?
I can't wrap my head around that either. I haven't figured that part out.
Well, somebody said
when we
that
got
this
in.
guy Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ian.
No, I was just saying that somebody said that this guy was in one of Russell T's TV shows.
it's a sin.
Yeah, so basically he's just giving some money to his friend at expense of Doctor Who.
I have a theory, but I'm trying to be nice today about why this guy was hired.
He's gay.
Yeah, well, that, and just, I noticed that Art Russell has the tendency to hire guys that he finds very attractive.
Well, who knows about that one?
I'm gonna be nice.
I'm
gonna try to be nice today.
Just okay. He's just okay.
And here's the thing: it didn't seem like for the 5 minutes or so of valuable screen time that this took up, to just be all to set up what was just a relatively lame payoff where Donna uses the word mavity a couple times, and it doesn't like build to anything where it's like a funny punchline or whatever to that little kind of humor chain. It's just kind of a couple times she says mavity, and even the doctor in the ship says gravity after she says it. So clearly that either slipped through and or the doctor is not susceptible to the language change or whatever. But it seemed like basically a lot of setup for no payoff at all. And if Russell wants to showcase a famous person of color, pretty sure there's lots of people to choose from instead of engaging in this kind of lame race swapping. And if he's doing it just to intentionally provoke people, it's like, yeah, that's really being, professional.
It's childish.
Yeah.
He's what it is that look, I would always say this, and I've said this in other podcasts and live streams. I believe in diversity 100%, but not the way they are doing it. I think it's really wrong and sad and not kind to take something that people loved for over 50 to 60 years and ruin it with what you think the world should be like. And let's face it, this is a minority of people that want this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the majority, it's the minority. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
So this is just, have you not noticed in the world now that when people do something wrong, they're not hiding it anymore. They're literally shoving it in your face and saying, what are you going to do about it? And this is what Russell T is doing. He's going, this guy was white, small, and English, and I'm putting this guy in here, and he's gay, and he's a man of color. What are you going to do about it? You know, I mean, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
he believes that the majority of people at Doctor Who don't like this flavor of TV won't walk away. But I think he's sadly mistaken. That's what I think.
Oh, I think he really is, and especially I did listen to your takes specifically yesterday on Type 40. I always look for yours because you're sort of the voice of reason, and it's fine that every other people like it. That's great, but I did like what you said about how later on, like when they talk about Isaac Newton and Donna says he was hot, and then of course the doctor has to chime in and say he thought he was hot too, and the the scene.
Yeah.
But I thought I think that is worse than this, because I think that is a setup, and I agree with what you said, because you're saying that he's setting that up.
Yeah, he's saying, I mean, and also you're going to go down this road. If they're going to go down this road and the doctor comes out and says he's gay, which obviously Shooty is gay in real life, then there's no need for me to watch the show anymore. Because it'd be pointless, won't it? It doesn't matter how good the stories are. You still have that horrible, the flavor of that in the show, which I don't appreciate, because Doctor Who was never about that. So I do what Dave Cullen said and leave the show. I would. One
more thing about, since we're specifically still on the Isaac Newton kind of preamble, is to kind of piggyback off something that Ian had said. Now, Ian is a director, and he is a filmmaker and a content creator. And I'm pretty sure that he would never indulge his own, he would never indulge himself at the cost of the production, in terms of, like we say, well, this was RTD's buddy, or whatever, and or he worked with, or he wanted to take a jab at the people who think that, well, white historical characters should remain white. But I have a feeling like he would never to kind of do that kind of flagrant manipulation if it was going to hurt the way that people perceived his production, because I think it should be the integrity of the production that should come first.
It's funny because it's obvious what they're doing. The reason why David Tennant is back is because Jodie failed. That's why. And nobody's saying that in the press or anyone. Jodie failed miserably, spectacularly, right? And this is the reason why David Tennant is back. There's no reason for David Tennant to be back ever, right? Ever. Because none of the other doctors have done this and come back with the same face and all that stupidness. And so they want to try and get us back. But they're not doing a very good job, because they're shoving this stuff in our face. So what do you expect we're going to do? We're going to leave, right? That's the only thing you can do. It's coming.
Today it was 4.83 million overnights.
It's gone down.
Yeah, it's gone down.
That's 250,000 less than last week.
A little did, I mean, you guys probably don't know, but when the BBC introduced the episode, they mentioned they had 5 million people watching last week. So what are they going to do what are they going to do the next one? They're going to say 4 million people watched. They're not going to say that.
Right.
I mean, when is that any time to Day of the Doctor got 10 million. And I know that they showed all of that together, right? But I still don't think that it matters, because it's and the reason, and a lot of people don't like Day of the Doctor, and I get it, but it seemed more like anniversary. For me, all of this doesn't seem anniversary. It just doesn't feel like a 60th anniversary thing.
Oh, absolutely.
It feels like just regular episodes.
The 50th, I mean, even just focusing on the Day of the Doctor special and not all the years worth of great things that led up to it, like Night of the Doctor and the Five-ish Doctors and all of that. But the 50th was so special that everybody like remembers it or remembers like if they saw it in the theater or whatever. And it's incredibly rewatchable. It was a gift to the fans. It was entertaining for the masses, and it honored the past of the show. And this is just doing the exact opposite. This 60th anniversary, it's just landing with a thud. I mean, it's RTD warming up for his new era.
But they don't really care, though, do they? They don't care if people watch this because the money's already set. So Russell T's going to indulge and put all this nonsense in there. I mean, you know, he might create some really good stories around it, but still, it's like seeing a really nice juicy chicken, and then when you eat it, it tastes awful. Do you know what I mean?
Got maggots inside.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the turkey in National Lampoon's Christmas. You know, when he cuts into it, and it just
a lot of hot air.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
keep thinking of,
go ahead, Michelle.
of what I keep thinking of what Joe Malazzi said when we had him back a couple months ago. You know, it's all what the executives want. But I'm like, you know, can't be the executives in Doctor Who. I know RTD himself said it's some of the people on set or the producers or whatever that wanted to change things. Well, you're changing them all right, but you're going to crash and burn.
Well, the thing is, they don't care.
Yeah, I agree, Ian. It doesn't feel like a 60th anniversary series. These 3 shorts, whatever you want to call them. I struggled to watch yesterday, and I struggled to watch it again this morning. And I'm like, is that it? Really? I found it very.
I hated it more today.
Yeah, Ian, do you think that the ratings then don't matter?
Well, yeah. So I learned this a couple of months ago, in the middle of this year. This thing called E&G scores, whatever it's called. I don't know. I can't remember.
ESG.
Yeah, ESG. So they have these huge companies that has more money than God, basically, and they're putting money because they believe in this kind of stuff. They believe in the message, so to speak, and they give companies money. Disney's one of them. I don't know if BBC's getting money from them. I don't know. So in other words, right, if you fail doing Marvels, say for instance, it doesn't matter because they're going to give you more money to make more crap. So in other words, right, they are determined to get this kind of religion out in the world for it to be accepted. And for the life of me, I can't understand why they're doing it at all. I don't know if you saw
Russell
that.
said it. Yeah, Russell said it himself. They want to get. They want to indoctrinate. They didn't even say indoctrinate, but he said basically he wants to influence young people when they're young.
And that's horrible. That's horrible.
It is. That's the definition of grooming.
And also, I don't care what anyone said. I will always support people like Gary and the Drinker, you guys, everyone that's on the fight for getting rid of this nonsense, because you are the only people that are fighting for it. The media is not fighting for it. The normies are not fighting. The normies don't even know what's going on. But you guys on the front line. So I actually believe in what you guys are doing. So I'll always support, when I can, obviously, support you guys, because as I said, I think this is important. They are trying to groom kids on but he says it in a way that doesn't that if you mention that, you're considered far right or a loony, or but I guarantee if RTD was saying we want to put religion and we want to put Christianity in Doctor Who, so we indoctrinate young kids at the beginning so that they understand about the love of Christ and all the things he's done for the world, I guarantee the same people that are screaming for this and calling us loonies would their heads would explode. Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
As I said, it's bigger than Doctor Who. This problem is bigger than Doctor Who. I don't want my nieces growing up thinking that this is the norm, because it isn't. It's a horrible thing. When was the last time you saw an advert with Santa on it, or I don't know, the Nativity, or you know what I mean? They slowly take, because social media and media is the thing that influences people more so than anything. They're slowly trying to take that away from society, and I think it's wrong personally. But people.
Oh,
have to-
absolutely. I totally agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I would always agree with that. I think Doctor Who is at its best when it's subtle. And you can put like Classic Who, it had some messages in it, but it was
Yeah.
subtle. It was done well. It was well written, and it was pure escapism. After seeing these two things at the very beginning, and there's a reason why RTD, I think, put the Isaac Newton thing at the beginning. He wanted to piss off, obviously. He wanted to make sure everybody knows this is what I'm doing. You get on board or get off. That's kind of his attitude. And then with the whole later on, we'll talk about more. But the doctor is, well, is that what I am now? It kind of took me out. It took me out, and I really just disliked the rest of the episode.
And also, right? Anybody find Donna? She's not a likable character at all, is she? She's
I
not.
hate her now.
Why would you?
I hate her now. Like I hate her now.
Why?
I wanted her to die. I wish she'd have died at the end. I caught myself fantasizing this morning. I hope the evil Donna eats the doctor, and then Donna dies, and then the TARDIS crashes and kills the fake Donna, because I don't want any more of that either. So, and then problem solved. So that's sad.
If I had a very young daughter or young son, I'm not sure I would want Andy be the one telling them bedtime stories.
Well, my dad used to read. My dad used to read the Telltale Heart to me when I was about 6. So I loved it, but my mom hated that. But whatever.
It's like Andy's. Did your dad say, Andy, what can you have tonight? You have a choice between the Three Bears and H.P. Lovecraft. And Andy says, H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh yes, sign me up. Yeah, but it made me who I am, so I appreciate that. But no, I hate Donna now. So
I don't like the way the character. I don't like the way her character's written. I miss the Donna from series 4. She just seems so much more, I don't know, belligerent and I know more than you because I'm a woman and I'm smarter than you type thing, And I'm like, really? I wanted to smack her multiple times.
She's always been dislikable as far as I'm concerned, but she was manageable, dislikable before. But now she's literally telling the doctor, "Shut up," and "I'm better than you," and blah blah blah.
She called him an idiot again. In this
about the Alonzi thing. Would have been cute. That would have been cute in season 4.
Well, let me ask.
Now it hasn't aged well.
Do you all think that this is intentional writing for her, or do you think that RTD has just forgotten how to write Donna?
No, he hasn't forgotten how to write Donna. He's obviously trying to make a huge statement. He wants the world to change in this lunacy logic that these people think. And obviously through it's like when before World War II started. I don't want to mention the words, but that's how the Germans got to the young, by putting posters up, advertising, and what I mean. They knew that if they can get to the young, they'll have a strong force. And it's the same thing. The same thing that these people are doing. They're reaching through the media, social media especially, to reach to the kids, so they can create this society that they believe is the right society, which is absolutely wrong. You can't tell me that the guy that was running around dressed as a woman last week was a woman. You can't tell me that she is not a woman. She's not a woman. She's a man. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
it's like,
exactly.
And it's like people are scared
I
to say
refuse to
that.
call her she. Really, I mean, I just did, but I catch. You catch yourself. But yeah, it's when I'm making a comment, it's like he.
No, people are saying she now. Like on Dan's thing, everybody's scared to say he. Once I made a mistake saying, "Oh, who's that geezer on the poster?" and they were like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm stating a fact here. It's not like I'm taking the mickey. I'm not taking the mickey. It is a man in a woman's clothes. I mean, what else can you say?
Somebody, I read a comment in one of the reviews. I was reading a review site yesterday reviewing these 2 episodes, and one of the comments that somebody put up was very similar to what you all have just been saying. And the response to that was, "No, you are who you feel like being." And I thought, we are just in Wonderland now.
We are.
I feel like being a millionaire today.
I was going to say that. Yes. So where's my money?
That's like I told you earlier this week on Discord, Andy. I said I'm going to walk into my bank across the street and identify as a person who has $500,000 in his account and try to make a withdrawal and see what happens.
It's really crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy.
We're living in a nut house, and we're the only people that are sane.
Well,
what are the positives though of this show? Go on, sorry.
You know, when they first crash landed, and he's trying to get the TARDIS back up and everything, and she made a comment. She said, "Was the TARDIS singing Wild Blue Yonder?" You know, and it's the Air Force song. You know, and she said how she used to sing it as a child in primary school or whatever, and Wilf said, "No, you don't do that because it's a war song." So now is that RTD taking a stab at the military? Because I'm sorry, I'm pro-military. I served. I'm a veteran. And if that be the case,
I saw that. I saw that just as a way to justify the title of the episode. But Andy, hang on a second. As much grief as I get for making bad puns, Andy, can you put up Time Mechanics' most recent comment in the chat?
Here we go. Is this it?
Yep.
Oh, our new postman is a woman, but at least she's male presenting. Oh no. Has Gary got to you? Has he told you that, we like puns here? No, we don't like puns here. And I especially don't like it when RTD does it.
Have you not noticed as well in this episode that they did the Star Wars thing where the TARDIS flew out like it blew up the Death Star? You ever noticed that bit at the ending? I thought to myself, shouldn't it just dematerialize? Shouldn't it just dematerialize and get out of there rather than fly through the fire? And I just thought that was a bit silly, really, because as I said, everybody knows that the Doctor can travel through time and space, so he can literally just press a switch and he's gone. Rather than try and navigate through explosions like an X-wing. So, they're changing things slowly, aren't they? In Doctor Who, I mean, Sonic Screwdriver can do so much now. It doesn't only unscrew
that to me, for as much as I think I noted on last week's show, the fact that the Sonic can do anything now because it's creating the energy shield. Yeah. Now all he has to do is fit the Sonic into the door, and it can by itself regenerate the TARDIS. That was like, whoa. Okay.
Well, don't forget he was using the TARDIS as a skateboard. There at the end where he was trying to get on. I'm like, wow.
He did that in Runaway Bride too.
No, because he wasn't using it as a skateboard Runaway Bride. It was just floating. It was flying. But he was literally putting his leg on the ground, wasn't he, and pushing.
Yeah, he did. He did.
I thought the TARDIS only weighs a couple pounds, I guess.
I mean, I will say the special effects in this were great. I liked the way the spaceship lived. They were great. It's a shame.
Sorry, it's funny because I was on a live stream last night talking about Doctor Who, and we had 2 fans on there, and they were saying the CGI was terrible. But I think sometimes you've got to be honest, right? Sometimes if you don't like something, your mind goes elsewhere and you try to find fault. And I think that's what they were doing. But I can only say the CGI was very impressive in this one. It really was, in my opinion, of course. They said, oh, no, look like After Effects. And you can see the matte lines and stuff. I was watching it in HD. But when it was broadcast, I couldn't see any of that stuff at all. So I don't know. Some people.
So we're at the other overt messaging in this show. So I figured we'll get this over with. This might be a whole hour on this. I don't know. But was it me or was Isaac Newton hot? And then of course, the Doctor has to say, oh, he wasn't he? He was so hot. And and then that was one thing. And then he has to say, oh, is that who I am now? And then this was like the most annoying. Well, it was never that far from the surface, mate. Like, and some people would throw this off as, well, it's a kind of a cute little joke. It doesn't mean anything. And I can overlook that. Well, you saying that now, but just wait. It's like when they were making jokes about being a woman when Matt Smith's era and things like that. So I kind of feel like this is a setup. I don't know
Because
what else you
the
guys think
sloughing it
about
off as a cute joke is exactly what Ian was saying a few minutes ago, where it's kind of like making it not a big thing and kind of normalizing it and everything like that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what they're doing. I mean,
Yeah,
David Tennant. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I rolled my eyes at it. I'm like, really? You had to throw that in there too?
Because they're saying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, let's face it, right? Shooty's going to dance with a man, kiss a man in the episode. You know, it's coming. And it's all aimed at the kids. It's all right to kiss a guy. You know, I don't know. Is it? I don't know. You know, it's all right to dress like a woman. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. But I think aiming for kids of like 5, 6, 7 is wrong. Let them grow up first, and then, you know, they can know about these things. I don't think it's right that you are shoving this in, especially in kids shows now. In kids shows, I mean, one of my friends, she's got a kid in kindergarten, as you guys called it, and there's a book in there called Santa and His Boyfriend. Santa and His Boyfriend.
Oh.
Is
Right?
that Rudolph?
No, it's like a kid's book called Santa and His Boyfriend, and his boyfriend is black. So that my friend said, "What is this? Why are you reading stuff like this to my kid?" She pulled him out of the school because they will not change.
Wow.
They will not. You know, they will not. Obviously, they disagreed. So she pulled him out of school. So this is where we're going. It's bigger than that.
I'm gonna tell you something, and parents in America, they've come to fist over this stuff.
Wow.
I'm telling you right now, what RTD's pushing and trying to say it's family. This is family hour, right? It's definitely the Americans are already going to. The Americans have already tuned out anyway, but they're really tuned out when you start mentioning trans issues, and that's a sore subject here. That's real sore. So, yeah, there's parents that have come to fists with schools because they don't want their kids indoctrinated with.
It's why Disney's
drag queen story hour, any of that.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I homeschooled my kids, and that movement is really taken off even more because of all this indoctrination crap in the schools. Listening to my grandkids in the public schools and just listening to them talk, and he's 7, and it's like, really? Wow, you know. And I get to see them every other weekend, and just the stuff that he talks about, and it's like, golly. You know,
man,
so
it's as I said last week, children are no longer the target audience, they're the targets.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, should we get back to Doctor Who then?
Well, one last thing, and this is related to Doctor Who, I will say, since you started to talk about this line, Andy, and I just thought later that RTD, to me, I realized is kind of being like a magician. He's using the classic magician's tools of misdirection to keep us from looking to where the real trick is happening. Like last week, the stuff was so overt and just in your face and obnoxious and over the top that this week, all the reviews and all the comments I'm seeing online were, this episode is great because it throttled back on all the stuff from last week. And I started wondering, well, maybe that was intentional. He intentionally went over the top this week. So this week, everybody would think this is great. This is perfect Doctor Who and that way he can kind of slip in his key comment, which I think is this. And he even puts the kind of joke race swapped opening so that everybody will focus on that in their criticisms, and go to the Isaac Newton thing as misdirection. When the real key is this line, which I agree with Ian, it's setting it up to be where the Doctor will be, gay, and they'll use David Tennant to validate it or introduce it or whatever. But I think this is what his true end game has been all along.
But again, all of this could work very, very well. The people that want to be trans, I've got nothing against that. The people who want to be gay, it could work well. But why go and do this? Why can't the BBC give them a separate amount of money so they can create their own characters that can be like that? Why sabotage something that's been beloved for X amount of years, from Star Wars to Star Trek to Doctor Who? I don't understand that kind of logic.
Yeah, right. But my thing is like, why take the Doctor Who universe and do that with,
Yeah.
Russell T Davies makes It's a Sin, which is, I watched. It's really well made. I enjoyed it. Do it that way, but keep it out of Doctor Who. That Doctor Who is not meant to be a political mouthpiece. It's supposed to be for escapism, in my opinion.
But that is just. I don't want to use the word evil, but that is just a horrible thing to do.
It is evil.
If you want that stuff, then make your own shows and put that stuff in your own shows.
Right.
Why destroy something that people love? It's deliberate and it's not kind. It's an awful thing to do. That's why I don't understand why they can't see that's what they're doing. So if they can't see that's what they're doing, then that makes them horrible people. No matter how many times you see Russell T on TV talking about Doctor Who this, Doctor Who that. If this is what he's thinking, then what kind of a person is he really as a person? A horrible one, apparently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he knows exactly. I think
he's
exactly
delusional.
what they're doing.
I don't know.
But as far as to go back to what Gary was saying, it was like, this episode is great. This episode was okay. This episode was all right. It was all right. Yeah. This would have been an all right filler episode back in season 4 or season 3. It would have been okay. I mean, I think it was done. I mean, there was a lot of people, bringing up Midnight. It's very similar. I think Midnight was done better on a lower budget. It was more effective. I just think that for a 60th anniversary, it'd be okay for just a regular one-off episode. But for the 60th, it's okay. It didn't
justify. Did it justify all the sequels? Not to me.
I think somebody said on, I can't remember, it was one of the podcasts or the live streams that I was on, they said they should have made just a 2-hour movie celebrating Doctor Who. You could have had David Tennant, maybe even Matt Smith in there, and like a really big, big budget movie, a 2-hour one at that. That's what they should have done instead of giving us 3 episodes of, let's face it, going back to the well and doing the same thing. In fact, when you look at the Shooty thing that's going to happen, isn't that a repeat of what happened with Chris Eccleston? It's the same thing, isn't it? Comes back, meets another girl, it's another girl with a strange name. Her name's not Jill or Johnson or Jill Johnson or something like that. It has to be some kind of weirdo name, and it's just the same thing. He's doing the same thing. So
yeah, and he kind of did some of the same things here too, like especially in last week with the whole season 4 feeling to it. But I mean, honestly, I wasn't excited about David Tennant coming back originally. I didn't want him back. I think he's done his time. It's time to move on. Let's see what you got, Shooty. Let's see, and it's just kind of like, I think that they're trying to bait and switch. I do believe that now. And for a while, I'm like, well, maybe they will be, because you go back and forth. You're like, Doctor Who fans are bipolar. It's like one minute you hate the idea, and next minute you're like, you get comfortable with it. You think, okay, he brings out the logo. He entices you with the great logo. And then he says, oh, this person's coming back and we're going to do this. And then he has articles where he Kevin Smithed everybody. And he said, talked about how, writers that write with political ideology in mind are lazy writers. Just paraphrasing. I think you guys know what the article I'm talking about. So he kind of Kevin Smithed everybody, because I think in January 2023, we were thinking, okay, he's really wants to make changes. So you start trusting again, because when RTD was first announced, I was not happy. I was pretty angry because I'm thinking, why are people so excited about this? This is going to be the same crap, I
don't know. I think I wasn't happy either, but I think Doctor Who needs a fresh take now. He's again, he's just given us something that he already gave us in the 2000s, the beginning of 2000s. We need someone to take Doctor Who and reinvent it like he did, and give us something new about Doctor Who. I always think that Doctor Who is the smartest man in the room, but yet from Capaldi straight to, they've been the idiots in the room for some reason. If you go back to classic, the Doctor always knew what was going on before anyone could come up with a solution, So, but he's always getting told off by women now. I love this robot, by the way.
I do too. It was nice. It
It's
was
a shame.
actually,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, it is a shame.
Did you say
moment.
yesterday, Ian, that you thought that he should have gone on the TARDIS as a kind of canine character?
Yeah, it would be fantastic, wouldn't it? If that thing became the assistant or the companion, that would be a twist in
the chameleon,
wouldn't it?
21st
Yeah, it would be a twist.
That's too classic. That's too classic, Ian. We can't do that. We can't do anything.
And it's
too
really
classic.
fun, interesting design, and they didn't do anything with it. I mean, it takes a step every once in a while, pushes the button, but yeah, I mean, there's so much more there that they could have done something with.
As I said, if I think, because like when I heard that Russell T was coming back, I was like, okay, he's going to do something different, but he didn't. The first thing I would have done is ditch the idea that the companion would be human. I would literally make sure the companion is either alien or maybe even looks human, but is a robot, like a cyborg or something like, do something different with the companion rather than go back and get Ruby Sunday. What was that one called? Rose Tyler. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Like something out of Farscape, the design of the characters like that.
Yeah. Something like Leela wasn't from Earth. She was from another planet, wasn't she? So that was different,
And she was very, she would teach the Doctor things, but she wasn't rude.
No, and also the fact that she was the muscle in the duo, wasn't she? She used to beat the crap out of people, and Doctor wouldn't do anything, So that would be interesting if they had something like that. But no, he just wants to stick to the same old formula, doesn't he?
And Leela used to slap hysterical women.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I love that. That was awesome. I love Leela. Leela's the bomb.com.
But thing is, when you talk about Leela, all that wonderful things that she did in those episodes, all I can say is, oh, she was wearing a skin tight costume and it was very sexist. And it's like, well, no, do you know what I mean? It wasn't sexist because I didn't think it was sexist. I thought she looked gorgeous, and I
do too.
Every week I look forward to seeing Leela and the Doctor.
And she had a great arc. She had that kind of Eliza Doolittle arc where the Doctor was.
If I had grown up watching Leela. As a little girl, I would have looked up to her. Totally. Yeah. She would have been she's like the Princess Leia of Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. And even better, I think she's better than Princess Leia personally. I love her. She's very innocent, but she's tough and she's smarter than she looks. She's way smarter, and she proved that. She's one of my favorite companions. I thought it was different, and I thought it was cool, but they can't do anything like that anymore. No. It's got to be the same old.
The one thing that I think it's at this point it's silly that we can't get past is because every so often I see people throw up the idea of, well, the companion is the audience identifier. After 60 years, we don't need an audience identifier to get into the show. Some people identify with the Doctor. We don't need to be the human to understand how the Doctor works anymore. In the early days of Hartnell or whatever, that's fine. I get it. But I think that whole audience identification with the companion being the entry point is pointless now.
The Doctor should just be in his box, land on a planet, wherever planet it is, go on an adventure, get back in his box, and then restart again next week. They shouldn't have any message in there. If they do, just have it subtle. But it shouldn't. The Doctor, Leela was walking around in her costume, and the Doctor never looked at her once with lust in his eyes, because that's not what the Doctor was about. You know what I mean? It was never about that, so.
Cybermat Strikes, I love that name. Leela used to kill people. I love that. Yes, I wish Leela would have come in and killed everybody in this episode. That would have been a little bit better.
Andy was feeling kind of homicidal by the time this episode wrapped up.
Yeah, I
kept waiting for Donna to refer to Rose as my beautiful daughter.
Again. But you know what, right? This episode wasn't too bad, right? Apart from the rubbish that we just mentioned just now, it wasn't too bad, right? I at least in this episode, I was wondering what was happening.
Right.
In the last episode, I thought the whole thing was absolute shit. It really was. It was just complete nonsense from start to finish. Could you imagine, right? You've got a firefight in the middle of the street, and yet it was boring. It was so boring last week. They were shooting in the street. You didn't care about anyone. And also, they were shooting in the street, right? No police turned up. None of the neighbors came out. No one. Do you know what I mean? They're destroying things. Cars are blowing up. No one.
They don't live in my neighborhood.
And you have, I loved how you had Fudge at the window as his street is imploding and this inferno is shooting out of the street in front of him. And he's just at the window going, oh,
yes, I'm saying. And again, I will say this, and I've said this in so many podcasts and so many live streams. Doctor Who needs to grow up. If you're emptying out your trash and you see a white fuzzy thing behind the trash can, you are not going to stand there and talk to it. You are going to run. You see a huge white rat with big eyes. You are not going to stand there and talk to it. You're going to run, right? And this is the logic that Doctor Who seems to avoid.
I don't know, because in Stranger Things, if you're a kid and you find this little green thing in your trash can, apparently you take it out and put it in an aquarium.
Yeah, but they experienced weird things before he found that thing. So that makes sense, right?
So my next podcast, I'm gonna make sure I get like a little red alert thing. So when we have a troll in the audience, I could do red alert, idiot troll in the chat. Keith Andrew, how odd that you guys sit and talk about a show that you now claim to hate. Well, how is it for you to go on people's streams and sit there and like worry yourself with what we think? Take your own advice, bud.
I don't hate Doctor Who. I don't hate.
No, we don't. We don't. We just hate. We just hate what RTD is doing to it.
Yeah.
We just hate what people are destroying.
Exactly.
And you're welcome to your opinion, but you're a hypocrite because you're in the chat worried about us. When you think that we just sit around and now claim to hate, well, then don't be in the chat.
And there's a big difference in how you watch. I actually like to watch things. I don't like to watch things with my arm crossed, daring the show to make me like it. But I do engage my brain with what I'm watching, and I do kind of think critically, either during or after, about what I've spent my time on. I prefer not to be just sitting there and be a sponge soaking up whatever they choose to shovel at me. All depends on how you.
I don't worship at the altar of RTD, man. I don't worship at the altar of anybody. If you put out a good product, I'll praise it. I mean, if you don't, I won't. I mean, that's it. And I have better things to do to pretend that I hate it. You think I want to talk about this? Do you think? Trust me. Right now, if Doctor Who wasn't out and we weren't discussing, I would be talking about Stargate Atlantis.
But I mean,
I'd be talking about something I like. So,
in terms of the scene that you have up, and the kind of arc of the episode, how it was so slow at the beginning, and then finally kind of got going about 20-25 minutes in. I just kind of wish, and I do agree with Ian. I like the effects. I like the ship constantly shifting, the walls shifting. I thought it was going to turn out to be a big mechanism. Like they were not inside of a ship. They were inside of like a mechanical thing at one point.
Yeah.
But I just wish that it had been in service of something a little bit more scary or spooky. I mean, like real scary or real spooky.
Well, they can't, because it's kids, isn't it? So it's kids. I like to say, just like to say to Andrew, I actually thought this episode was all right. But I didn't hate this episode. I thought it was all right. I hate the stuff, the message stuff that they put in there, the beginning bit, and that thing about the Doctor leading up to being gay. I hated all that nonsense. Again, I will stress that I have nothing against gay people. In fact, one of my best friends is gay, and trans people. I have nothing against them. But what I do have against is them putting stuff into shows that we like deliberately, and also grooming kids. I'm against that totally. 100%.
Yep.
So, and I'm all for diversity. 100% behind diversity. I want diversity on our screens.
Well, let me just say I blocked Andrew because anyone's going to say I'm a grifter doesn't know me. So you're going to get blocked. But just to say Andrew doesn't care. All Andrew hears is that you don't like the fact that the Doctor may be gay and that you have a problem with the race swap. Guys like Andrew just get on there and basically just have a problem with that. They don't care if you like the rest of the episode. They want you to like all of it because they're a sponge, like Gary was saying. So those people, I don't even waste my time with. So I normally don't do that, but nobody calls me a grifter and gets away with it because I don't make money off of any of this. I do this because I love Doctor Who and I don't want to see it destroyed. and I love talking about things that I love. So and I love hanging out with my friends online, gabbing.
Mhm.
So,
Gabbing.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, yes, this was a better, even though it was a little bit slow, this was overall a better episode than last week. Like Andy said, it's kind of like a filler mid-season in a 13 episode season. But when you get past, for me, the 3 points of eye rollingness, which is the diversity casting of Isaac Newton, the doctor being gay, and that one line where they're trying to figure out the captain's pronouns. It was nowhere. It was nowhere near as preachy as the previous episode. It just seemed to me to be. I mean, it's great production design.
Mhm.
Kind of reminded me a little bit of Ark in Space, where you just have like 2 or 3 characters wandering around a deserted ship. But in the first episode, I really personally, I wanted it to be more scary. Just personally.
The thing is, they couldn't do that because of the fact that it's basically for family. And somebody did mention that yesterday, I think, to say that why wasn't the sets darker, because then it would have made it more scarier. But I guess they have the responsibility for the kids, don't they? To not make it that scary for the kids.
Well, Moffat sure didn't care with World Enough in Time.
Or those
Cybermen were like, wow. I know it's a different showrunner, but
yeah, it's a different show and it's a different time as well. I mean, if you go back to the 70s, Doctor Who was scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, especially that Spider episode with John Pertwee. That was scary as far as I was concerned.
Spider on back of Sarah Jane was like, trigger.
That's what I'm saying. So there's nothing wrong with scaring kids, because they should be scared from time to time. It makes them a tougher person as they get older. Do you know what I mean? Some kids can take it, some kids can't. But you can't let that stop you from creating great art, if you know what I mean. And in classic Who was kind of, when you look back at it, it was kind of great art. Let's face it. Even though I didn't have the budget to do it properly, it was really good art as far as I was concerned. I don't know.
And this is beautiful right here. I did that screenshot because I love that scene with the drone going outside of the spaceship, and I thought that was awesome. Like, I mean, so there is good things about it, but again, I still go back to my original statement that this is just a filler. I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't feel like the 60th. I mean, take out all the ideology out of it, and it would it'd be one of those ones I'd watch once, and then I probably wouldn't go back to it.
I mean, this did remind me a little bit of Listen, kind of like I did like the scene where basically they're at the end of the universe and the Doctor is leaning out against this is the farthest point anybody's ever been, and he leans at the glass and kind of looks out like he wants to actually physically be at the very edge of anything. I thought that was kind of cool and very Doctorish.
But didn't the Doctor go to the edge of the universe in an episode?
Listen.
Utopia?
Yeah, it was that one, wasn't it?
I thought it was Utopia or something.
Yeah,
Didn't he do it in Hellbent too at the end with me? Wasn't that the end of everything?
I think so.
I thought it was.
Confused.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so this is something he's done before. So
there's 4 ends of everything.
Then again, he was a woman, so maybe you forgot. Sorry, I just
let it go. He'd let it go at this point.
Yeah. Well, which with the changing of the words, gravity to mavity and mavity, and all, are we in an alternate timeline? It seems like
now that's what we have to look for. If the word gravity is uttered in any Doctor Who episode going forward at all, we know that RTD is that the continuity person is out to lunch, because apparently gravity is no longer a thing.
Dan, he's a huge fan of Doctor Who, and he'll support it until he dies, I reckon. But everything's leading up to what we don't want. As I said, I'm ready to let go of Doctor Who. I think Doctor Who is, has played a great part in my life, but I can't, in all seriousness, carry on with the way they're actually portraying the Doctor now. I just can't do it. I just think it's horrible.
I can't morally, because it's against what I believe, and I can't. If he really does make the Doctor gay, I can't do it. I just can't.
Where it's
So
going. That's where it's going. You know,
yeah,
I mean, it's obvious that's where it's going. I mean, I remember. Did you look? There's 2 times when my heart sunk for Doctor Who. Actually, 3, right? And I'll be really honest. One was when they cast Peter Capaldi, and I like Peter Capaldi, but when they had that introduction and Zoe Ball called him out on stage and stuff, and he was Doctor, I thought to myself, "Oh, they've gone backwards. He's going to be old again." You know, we had the wonderful Matt Smith, and he was fantastic as far as I was concerned as the Doctor. Yes, it had some crappy episodes, but still, he was fantastic as the Doctor, the portrayal of the Doctor. And they went to, now they've gone backwards, and now he's going to be old again. But I did warm to him as the episode. He had the worst episodes ever in the history of Doctor Who. Well, apart from Sylvester McCoy, I guess. But you're
gonna get a lot of there's a lot of Capaldi girls that follow me. So don't cancel Ian.
I'm just
opinion.
Saying, right.
It's all right.
I did got to like him, and I think he's one of the best Doctors now. Yeah. But when they cast him, and I thought, no, they're going backwards. That's not going to work. That's when they lost the American audience, when they cast him. The second time is when I was watching TV and this woman came on, she pulled off a hoodie, and it was Jodie. My heart sunk, right?
Oh, no.
And the third time was when I saw a picture and I said, this is a new Doctor, and it was a black guy and it was Shooty, and my heart sunk. So how many times can my heart sink?
No, I say it was 3 times with me. There was Jodie, then Joe Martin.
Oh, God, I forgot
then Shooty. You have to remember. Just gotta ruin your day.
Yeah, 4 then.
I will say there is a scene in this that I really enjoyed. Is when the Doctor's talking about the TARDIS and how, you know, I wonder what the TARDIS is at. Like maybe, you know, these group of people are worshiping it, and then eventually they'll burn it.
That was good. I actually liked
that. It was great. I love that scene. We need more of that, and less like throwing out pronouns and cute little stupid, you know, I'm gay now jokes. I mean, we need more of that.
I mean, with me, I'm with what all of you have been saying in terms of, you know, we're not here, you know, to be like haters of whatever group, fill in the blank, whatever. My red line has always been, are you disrespecting or demeaning the legacy of the show? It's like that allows, I have like a wide latitude for little momentary things. But if I see a trend where you're basically, you know, screwing with the legacy of the show or disrespecting the legacy of the show, that's kind of where I say enough.
Well, I'm glad Moon of Madness you were thrilled to see Capaldi, and I warmed to him. I thought, you know, the Mummy on Orient Express was one of the best episodes of Doctor Who, one of the best. Let's face it. But right, the truth is that the majority of the audience went down when Capaldi was cast, because they were expecting someone younger again. You know, and also
sadly, you're correct. It did. Yeah. I wasn't one of them.
All right.
I was the biggest cheerleader.
Yeah. Well, Ian, most Americans are completely superficial. That's why.
Oh no, I wouldn't say that. I know a lot of Americans. The majority of them are not like that. The ones that I know, anyway. I mean,
us, we're not.
You do get a bad rep in the world. Americans do get a bad rep. But if you get to know Americans, they're nice people. What can I say? I do like them, but I'm just saying, you know. And also, why is it that when they cast someone to play the Doctor always has to be like a mad scientist? I mean, Matt Smith, right? What's his name? Tennant. Who came after him? Oh, Capaldi. They're all sometimes they act like they're a mad scientist. Who's to say that the Doctor should act like that? Especially the Jodie one, the ones that I saw. She was acting like a mad woman. Why isn't it? Why can't we cast someone that actually is quite straight and focuses and very quiet stuff? That would be,
I've mentioned this on Discord. Andy and Michelle know I've mentioned this on Discord before. My favorite Capaldi depiction was the university professor in his last season. I would have loved another season of that. Maybe bring in, you know, where he's settled there. You know, he uses the university as his base. He gives these amazing lectures, which are standing room only, and stuff. That would have been. I loved that, and that would have been. I would have wanted more of that.
Yeah, but they made him into a cleaner or some nonsense like that at one point, didn't they? And that was stupid.
Oh, yeah.
That was really daft.
Well,
yeah,
he was He was not really
He was the
a cleaner,
caretaker.
but
The
yeah,
caretaker.
Yeah,
that
he was the caretaker. Yeah. You
And
know,
also,
you said
what-
Jody. You said Jody is a mad woman. I couldn't help but have a flash of a thought, and this is funny. Medea as the doctor. Okay, that I don't know if
Oh, I'd love
anybody
that.
could handle that.
I would love.
I would
that.
love it. I mean, wow.
just as a parody, of course.
running from the
Serious.
popo, running from the popo.
They
Yeah.
were TARDIS. Except he would say,
Have you seen those
TARDIS.
Medea movies, Ian? Did
No.
those make it over there? It's basically what is it? Tyler? Who is it?
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry.
Black woman.
Who
Yeah.
does the
She's
Medea?
the black woman. Yeah, because we have something similar over here. We have Mrs. Brown with an Irish comedian that dresses up like an old granny.
Yeah.
So he'll play Medea, which is this woman who's dressed in this old kind of style, robes and stuff, and she'll have definite. But then he'll play himself as like her nephew or something. He plays like 5 different characters and stuff, and he's made like what, Andy, like a dozen movies now with that.
Yeah, he's coming back too. He's
In
gonna
fact,
bring it back.
In fact, in one episode, in one movie, Mrs. Brown was in it, I do believe.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
she was. I'm talking about
Oh, he-
knickers.
Yeah. So
I won't get into it, but yeah, it's funny.
So,
Yeah.
But I mean, again, going back to this episode, I thought this episode was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't fantastic. It really didn't deserve to be in the 60th anniversary. They should have made a 2-hour movie. I agree. But it is what it is at the end of the day, and it's heading down the road that we don't want it to go down. And again, it's literally saying to us that we are not invited. That's basically what it's saying. I don't know what you guys think of that.
Oh yeah, and we're definitely not gonna get in the clubhouse anymore.
But what did all of you think about the effects in this? The kind of big arms and stuff. When I first saw like the big arms and stuff, I immediately flashed on. I started wondering how much Disney had in this, because when I saw the big arms, I know that not all of you are like comics fans, but Ms. Marvel, the young Ms. Marvel, in the comics, that's basically her power. She can make her arms and her hands grow huge. And so I thought, somebody said, why don't we have like a Ms. Marvel element in this episode with I don't know if that was the case, but that's what I thought of when I saw the big arms.
I'll let everybody kind of speak, but I'll speak at the end. But I have words.
Well, for me, the effects that I like were the changing of the spaceship. It reminded me of the horror movie The Cube, how it kept changing.
Oh yeah,
that's what I was thinking when I saw that, and the colors and everything. I'm not all that familiar with the Marvel side of things, except for just the movies, so I don't know what Gary's talking about, but I found that where their arms grew was like, okay, that's just really weird, and odd.
Anybody? I already thought was odd that they had the destruct button in the corridor. Why didn't they have the destruct button in the pilot next to the seat?
The console room.
Well, why? You know what I mean? It's just there to serve the plot, isn't it? Why would you have a destruct button like in this long corridor? It's just there to serve the actual story. A story,
right. So they have to run to it, and it's like it builds all this. Yeah,
it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So, and also at the ending, I was thinking to myself, well, the reason why these creatures, they didn't want them to take from the humans, so that's why they made everything go slow. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense either. It makes no sense. It's a stupid idea, because how many people were on board of that ship? They could just took one person to push that button if they all agreed to die.
Well, if they knew what it was
makes any
for.
sense. What?
Yeah, if they knew what it was for, sure.
A big red button.
I don't think they knew.
It's just
well, if Capaldi was there, he would just push the big red button, because he likes pushing big red buttons.
And it kind of reminded me, at one point I thought this is kind of like something they do like on Red Dwarf, where Lister would go, why do they put the button all the way out there when it should be in here?
It should be
next to the seat. That's because Red Dwarf is clever.
Yeah. It should be next to the pilot seat, should it not?
Yeah.
It should be next to the right, because why would you put it in a corridor we had to walk miles to actually push the button? It makes no sense.
That's a frustrating thing, because clearly I mean, I know whether it just either looking at the shots that Andy's been putting up or whether you watch like the behind the scenes stuff, clearly there's talented craftsmen putting this together. I mean, in terms of the effects and stuff, where some thought has gone into what the quarters should look like, as Michelle said, what the turning of the mechanics should be. So that's what's frustrating, is clearly there is some serious thought given to some elements, but in the most basic things like we're talking about, like why isn't the button just here? It seems like, did nobody raise that point? Well, and that's what's frustrating.
What's probably happened is that Russell T wrote the first draft, then he wrote the second draft, and he was happy with it. And he probably didn't get, so people probably, when somebody gets power, right, like Russell T has, and you have your staff around you, sometimes they're really scared to say what's on their mind, like, sorry, Russell, but why would you have the red button there? You're fired. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Right. So maybe that was the case, that
could be.
That nobody wanted to challenge him.
He's God.
Yeah. Why didn't anybody tell George Lucas that the prequels weren't very good? Nobody told him that.
I want to apply time mechanic for being the pun king today. Or
literally knuckle dragging.
Person. Yeah,
well, I think that's funny.
There's pun after pun after pun.
Yeah, but that's a good
my
one.
husband was saying that yesterday. One. Yeah. That's all my husband.
I thought it was a little cringy.
Look, knuckle draggers. Yeah.
To be honest, I thought it was a little cringy. I thought some of the scenes were just, especially this. It's just
the worst. That was weird. That scene was weird.
The worst effect was the bit where David Tennant's head was on his bum or something like that. Remember that?
Where his jaw fell?
Oh, yeah. Not that bit was terrible as well.
When he went backwards so he could kiss his own ass.
Where it looked like he was. It looked like he was talking out of his ass. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did like the little anti-grav car there. I thought that was cool.
No, say it right, Michelle.
Anti-mav.
Anti-mav.
Okay. Anti-mav? No, anti-grav. Sorry, I can't do that.
I do wonder whether they used that same effect that they did with the Mandalorian on this. They probably did, with the projection and stuff like that behind them. So they probably did save money, I guess. But I just thought this bit was stupid. I thought,
it was cringy. I literally the cringe was strong, like that GIF. That's what I felt like watching it. And when I saw this, I thought to myself, I am embarrassed to tell people I like Doctor Who. So
you don't have to worry about that now.
No, I could just change my handle, but everybody, yeah. So what did you guys think about the whole thing, about how except Donna does not think she's stupid, she thinks she's stupid and brilliant, which I thought, that pretty much, I thought that was okay. I thought, that kind of that's kind of her character.
No, she's stupid.
Yeah, I don't mind these kind of like word puzzles where they're trying to, figure out if it's this, it's that, if it's this, it's that. Kind of like in Pyramids of Mars, when the Doctor is trying to figure out which the Guardians. It's like, so if you're lying, that must mean this, but if you're telling the truth, that must mean this. That's kind of.
Yeah, that was okay. I'll give him that. But this scene right here, I guess Gary could probably figure out what I said, and I know Wynn can figure out what I said out loud. Pretty much just, what is this, supernatural?
Oh yeah, is that true about the? No, seriously, is that true about? Is that actually a legend with the salt?
Legend.
Like if you spread it, you have to count it.
Yeah, Supernatural did it all the time, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard that. Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to ward off, like if you put a salt circle or you put salt in windows, they can't get in because salt is pure.
You ever see Let the Right One In? Let the right one in. You see that? Then you saw.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Come on.
Yeah, what about the counting of the grains?
No, that's stupid. That's just rubbish. Yeah, I don't.
They have done that in Supernatural too.
Oh, really?
With the leprechaun. Okay. So.
I thought with vampires, it's like they can come in as long as you invite them in.
Yeah, that's it. That's one of the rules.
Yeah. You have to invite the vampire in.
Demons and ghosts is salt, I think. So. They just added their own little lore with the vampires there, but whatever. So I thought that was kind of, I knew why he was doing it, but it just seemed it was all right. I don't know.
It's weird the things he carries around. Like last week, apparently in his coat, he carries around the little lawyer's wig. And now he's also carrying around vials of salt with him just in case.
But,
it's like, okay.
But that I don't mind, because that's
Yeah,
the doctor. Look at Tom Baker. Tom Baker used to do the same
I
thing.
know.
So
It's a trope.
I get it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But yeah, that was I literally said, what is this supernatural, like, out loud? Because I was like, wow, really? What RTD? Like, I'm gonna like do some research. And of course, we have them having teeth in this one as well, which I don't know what you guys thought about this.
You know what I honestly thought, and I'm not kidding to make a joke? The first thing that popped into my mind was Dwayne Dibley.
Yeah. From Red Dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that. Wow, it got really quiet.
It was weird. The whole teeth thing was just really weird. I'm like, we've seen this before, with Smitty, the Vampires of Venice or whatever.
I think actually it's kind of like what Ian was saying before. I mean, it's scary, but it stays at like the Disney scary level.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it was all right. Obviously they're shapeshifters. There's some sort of shapeshifter, obviously. So this would make sense. I mean, I could see other shows doing this too. Namely one I just mentioned. They would do something like this. So, okay, it's all right. It gives it a little bit of, like thriller, like it's, they're running and it's obviously they need to get away quickly from these
Halloween,
things with
as they say in the
very
chat.
Halloween-esque.
As Lucy says in the chat, it's Halloween style. So
yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
All of this is okay. Like I said, I'm not real, like, I can't get real excited about Doctor Who at this point. So it would take a lot for me to actually kind of come back in the fold at this point after seeing these last 2 episodes. And I think also I'm in the shock of, because you said it too, Gary, we didn't really think he was going to start this stuff in the 60th.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming with the Christmas special. It surprised me that he went, full speed ahead.
Do you think he was always like this, but didn't have the guts to do it when he started?
Yes.
In 2000.
Yes, I think he was doing it slowly with Captain Jack.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do. I think because of he, because now they have like a lot of support from the weirdo fanfickers, So I think that it's part of it. I think it's because like people or there's this younger and younger people that are more open to this stuff now. And I think he feels empowered and emboldened to go there because he feels like it's leading more toward that. I don't think he would have ever done this in 2006, 2005.
I know, in England, there was a show called Points of View. And basically every Sunday they would read the letters of people that complained about TV shows and stuff like that. And then they had shows where they would have a studio audience and the TV makers and the filmmakers, and the audience would talk to the filmmakers and say, well, why did you do this? Why did you do that? We disagree with this, disagree with that. They will never do that with today's shows because they know that if they get an audience in, they would get trashed with logic. They would get trashed completely. So that's why you'll never, ever see Russell T come up against a fan that disagrees with what he's doing.
And it breaks the illusion of what they want people to believe, that we're in the minority.
Yeah.
So they don't want to do that.
They're never going to do
so, yeah.
I've actually seen a couple of episodes of that online. I watched one of the episodes where they had the studio audience in, and they were talking about Allo Allo, which is the sitcom that was set in. Yeah. And the question was, is that appropriate? Is that is that taking away from the seriousness and the tragedy of what really happened by making it a subject of a sitcom? And that was the topic that they were. And I thought it was an interesting discussion.
It is. And there's a, I don't know if you guys know it. There's a show for kids called Grange Hill. And basically it was about a school that was rough. So you had bullies, you had drugs, you know, everything. Right. This was during the 70s. It started in the 70s, and it got so popular, and it had fights in it. Kids were fighting, stuff like that. The parents started complaining, and then they had a show where they had the parents and the filmmakers and the kids and stuff like that, and there was a huge discussion, and it was great because BBC was it's a public service, so the BBC have to answer to the people that are actually paying them, right? And it was great, but they'll never do that now. Never do that now, because we're talking about a different playing field here, right? You know, this is something that's not nice, and it's even bordering on a bit of evil. This stuff, isn't it? Let's face it. So yeah.
And I think actually, and I said this last week, what's dangerous about this is that RTD's a good writer. So my thought process now, after seeing this, I think the BBC wanted him to come back to make it more palatable for like people like us, because there's that stupid. They think we're that stupid. They really think we're that stupid.
There are loads of showrunners out there that can do a better job than Russell T and take it in a direction. It'll be a new direction, and of course, you'll never ever get people not complaining. But at least
you're always going to have people complaining.
Yeah, yeah. At least it'll be something that they've taken it into a direction where it's never been done before. You know, I mean, remember that guy who created Babylon 5? He threw his hat in the ring, didn't he? He was saying, "I'd love to be showrunner for Doctor Who and stuff like that."
Oh yeah, J. Michael Straczynski.
Yeah, that would have been he may have.
But he was American, so
yeah, I know.
But you know, but we have to have diversity. But you can't let an American.
But do you remember? The Bond people were saying they'll never get an American to direct a Bond film. Yet they broke that rule, didn't they?
Yeah,
several American.
And I think it's wrong, because you know I'm not saying that we're better, but it's like, you know, would I want an American playing the Doctor? Probably not.
I wouldn't mind. To tell you the truth,
they could do an accent maybe, but it needs to sound British.
To tell you the truth, I think the best man for the job. That's what I think. If he's Australian or he's American, if this person could show me he's the Doctor,
right?
And whether he's American, it's like when they were casting for House MD, and they saw so many Americans, and then they came across Hugh Laurie, and they thought he was American, and they hired him, and then they only found out he was British when he was on set, because the best man for the job, right? It wasn't
right.
That's what I think.
Would you be okay with him having an American accent?
If he's weird enough. Do you know who would have made a really good Doctor? Do you ever see Fringe?
Oh, I loved Fringe.
You know the father, what's his name?
Oh, John Noble.
John Noble would have made a great Doctor. He's Australian, right? So that's what I'm saying. The best man.
He
for
was
the job,
phenomenal on that show.
He was. He reminded me of the Doctor sometimes. He's very vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what you kind of need. That if you went in that direction with the Doctor, that would be something new,
but
right?
They'll never go back to an older Doctor. They'll never do it, because he wants to reach all these young kids that aren't going to want. They're not going to buy the merchandise. So look what happened with Jodie Whittaker. They're not going to buy the merchandise. We buy the merchandise.
Yeah, but according to the media, we're all wrong. Jodie Whittaker's reign was very successful,
and she was a brilliant woman. Remember?
Yes. So what did you guys think about the whole thing that the captain had committed suicide? And yes, there's spoilers of this, so everybody know. If you haven't seen the episode, you're going to get some.
I just kept focusing on the design. I mean, I wanted to see kind of what.
So did I.
You know, it was like almost like a horse, like an equine skeleton. It looked like.
That was the impression I got. Yeah.
Well, the dials had like I was watching Unleashed, and it was some sort of like they were meant to like implement like hoof prints or prints. They had actually said that on Unleashed. So and they actually had to design all those, and so it was some sort of like horse-like creature that had lived there. But you know, again, this is Doctor Who, so that kind of reminded me of something they might have done during Classic era. You know, it's not just a human out there. It's actually like, you know, some creature, which, okay, I applaud that. You got that right. So I don't generally have any issue with that at all.
I just think that, again, I think, you know, they're going down the wrong road with this, obviously. But again, they should have just got someone in that had a bigger imagination that could take the Doctor in another direction, you know, still keep the fundamentals Doctor, you know, the blue box, him, blah blah blah. But I reckon it's time now that we don't have well, maybe we could have a running story through all of them, but he just gets in a box, lands on a planet, solves a problem, and leaves. That's what we want to do every week.
I don't really and I don't even necessarily want a story arc. Like, I mean, like they do now. Like it's 2 episodes, but it's an underlying long story arc through all these episodes. I want it like the old days where you have a 3-story arc. That story arc's over. He gets in the TARDIS and then he goes on his next adventure, and it's completely different. It's not connected.
I don't want to know about the Doctor. With that bit where they're talking and he says to him about Flux. Obviously, I never watched an episode. Yeah. I had no idea. I don't want to know about the Doctor. The Doctor he's called Doctor Who for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Right. Who the hell is he? You know, I don't want to know.
Well, he had to double down on the timeless children thing, and that's what that's about.
Oh, like, that was that was when that happened. I just thought. You know, that was.
He had to stab me in the heart again. He had to do it, like saying that, you know, basically he's not from you don't know where you're from. You're not from Gallifrey.
He is from Gallifrey. Just don't.
Yes, he is.
They're changing the way we see the Doctor. It's like literally, I guess Columbo's wife turning up in an episode. Do you know what I mean? It's just, that's how they're destroying the Doctor, because we don't want to know anything about the Doctor. It is stupid. The Doctor comes in, solves the problem, leaves. That's what
the show should not be about the Doctor. The show should be about the adventures the Doctor has.
Exactly. And somebody needs to slap Donna Noble. They really do. Really need to slap her hard and say, "Listen, I'm saving your life. Shut up and listen to what I'm saying."
I would do it. I would do it. I'd be the companion that goes, "Shut up! He's trying to save us. Shut the hell up." And that was my face, you know, like that's me and Jason while we were watching. But no, I think you're right. I think we don't need to know everything about the Doctor. I like mystery, and even if the Doctor had regenerated before, I don't need to know it. Right? Let me envision what I want for the Doctor. That's what makes it interesting. That's why I always thought it was very interesting, because he's hard to read sometimes. Like Sylvester McCoy did that very well. Very hard to read, kind of, you know, like so you know, I really wish,
and you know, which in the classic series, the very occasional snatches when the Doctor would mention his past were all the more memorable and impactful because we didn't know anything. Like when Hartnell says, you know, Susan and I can never go home, but that's it. It's like the rest is left to us. Or Patrick Troughton with his astonishing conversation with Victoria, where he talks about his family sleeping in his mind. Or when Pertwee talks about his old teacher who lived up on the mountain, who he would go, and that was all we got. And that was enough, because it just kind of fed us just enough to keep us intrigued, but without, you know, diminishing.
Now they have to tell us everything. They have to tell us the Doctor's bathroom habits. They have to tell, you know, it's just ridiculous. It's like, you know, did he shower today? It's like, what did he eat? It's just ridiculous. I mean, let's have some mystery, people.
It really is funny, isn't it, that the show that we've loved so much is being destroyed by people who don't care about it, and they care more about the message than anything that we see on. I mean, Russell T is a good writer, but again, I think it's really sad and mean that he would destroy.
I think he's delusional, because I don't even think he even realized how much Jodie Whittaker and Chibnall destroyed it. I don't think he was quite.
He realizes it. He knows it. They all know it. But they're ignoring it.
My question to him is, and I think I said this in a video in my old channel when he first came back. My advice to him is, get somebody, a classic fan that doesn't like that era, and talk to them. Talk to that fan.
He's not going to do that, because we're all bigots and racists and stuff like that, aren't we?
But you know, that would have been, you know how successful this would be if he would have done that, if he would have bothered.
He don't care.
It's kind of like he has Stockholm syndrome almost.
He doesn't care. People that make Doctor Who, they don't care what we think at all. They think they're creating a new audience, and they're not. Basically, people are not buying the merchandise. After David Tennant leaves, the normies are not going to accept Shooty. Look, I'm a man of color, right? And even I believe that race swapping is wrong. It literally is wrong. The doctor should never be a woman. The doctor should never be black. That's my opinion. And
well, in the situations he can get in, there's situations the doctor could get in as a black man that it would take you out of the story.
But they will ignore it because they're changing history as we go anyway. Do you know what I mean? If he appears in the time when black people were slaves, they probably won't be slaves. It'll probably be the white people that are slaves. They'll probably swap it around and stuff. That's
so. I'm curious, since you brought up Ian, if you had to call it now, what's your prediction for how this is all going to play out? For like next season.
I think what's going to happen is that he's going to have a few good stories, or he's going to have a lot of good stories actually, but the flavor is going to be distasteful, if you know what I mean. And a lot of people are going to leave. And I don't think people want to see Shooty as the doctor. I don't think the normies will look at Shooty and then they'll walk away. And that's probably what's going to happen. And
because they're going to think, another diversity hire.
That's
the thing they're going to think.
And even if they don't think that, subconsciously they'll think there's something wrong here. Like, for instance, I was shooting something, right? This was beginning of this year, and we were talking about Doctor Who, and I was talking to the associate producer, and I said, the Doctor is a weighty black woman now. And she started laughing. She's like, it's really funny. I'm like, I'm not joking. And she goes, what are you talking about? And then I went on my phone and I showed her Google, and she just looked at me and she went, no, that's not true. And I'm like, read it.
Right.
It's true. This woman it looks like my next door neighbor. She's a doctor. Do you know what I mean? And she just didn't believe me, even though she was reading it. And then when she did come to the conclusion that it was true, she just went, that's just nuts. She goes,
I work with a lot of people, and they talk about the shows they watch, right? None of them are Doctor Who, by the way.
Yeah.
But my coworker who sits right next to me knows I'm a Doctor Who fan, and he said, "How was Doctor Who?" Like that, and he was listening. It's gotten so far. I mean, people that don't watch it are aware of what's going on right now because podcasters, like political podcasters, are talking about what RTD has done. So he's getting press, but he's getting the press he doesn't want.
Yeah,
but does he care?
Newsweek did an article too. So. Yeah,
I mean, kids, right, are into Doctor Who. They think they're into Doctor Who, but they're not really, right? Shooty's wearing hardly anything on covers of Esquire and all that stuff, and and it's like, well, what is that? Is that appropriate for kids to look at? Do you know what I mean? Is it? But
I mean, he's using it as. I mean, we are in another universe from when Tom Baker would never do anything that the Doctor wouldn't do, and he would totally be the Doctor whenever. He visited children's hospitals or whatever. He would never, ever do anything to break that illusion, break the image that people had. And honestly, at this point, I'm already kind of over with all of the articles and all of the weird outfits that he wears and all the self-promotion he does. I'm already over him. And I've always thought that he's basically going to kind of use this show as his means of exposure and his platform to serve his own career. And the minute that stops happening, he's out. He'll be gone.
Do you know another thing, guys? Russell T, right, he's doing these things deliberately. And sometimes he thinks he's clever. He's being subtle. Like, for instance, I had a conversation with someone again on a live stream. And I said, Shooty's wearing a skirt. And they said, no, it's a kilt, right? And then I was proven wrong. It was a kilt. But, right, look at it very carefully, right? The reason why he's wearing a kilt and a woman's blouse and a leather jacket and some stupid boots is because they wanted it to be that way, because then they could literally say that he looks like he's wearing a skirt. Another example is when they had the dramatization of what is it called, Time and Space, whatever it is, where was playing the first, and they changed Matt Smith to Shooty. Now the question is, right, a lot of people are saying, oh no, they're always meant to do that, update it, whatever. But right, they didn't do it with Jodie, and they didn't do it with Peter Capaldi, right? Because it comes out on Doctor Who Day. They didn't do it in those days. But what I'm saying is that they did it deliberately. There's no way they didn't do it deliberately. They put him in there, they put Shooty in there to say that this is where we're going now, subconsciously.
Yeah, it was creepy how he was like winking too. Just the creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
This is where we're going now. And you can either look at one way or the other. You can either go with the argument that they're always going to do that, so it means nothing, or you can go they deliberately did it. And I know they deliberately did it. I know they deliberately put him in a kilt because everybody will think it's a skirt because that's the message they want to send out to
the fans that like all that stuff will interpret it that way anyway.
Exactly.
They'll interpret that way and they'll go, look, he's non-binary, he's genderqueer, he's this and that. And it's like that's what they'll do because they'll take every little thing. And right now they're celebrating because the doctor's gay. It's all over Twitter. The doctor's gay now. This validates me as a person because I have no life. That's basically, I finally am validated because the doctor's gay.
And that's what it is. I mean, obviously nobody's going to say that, but that's 100% what it is.
She just said it. So there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, apart from all that stuff, this episode was okay.
It's so funny.
Well, and you know what? We haven't even talked about the only thing that I really like because I know that we're going kind of sequentially with the scenes that Andy's showing. I mean, obviously, the only part that I really loved about this episode was the very last scene.
Yes.
What scene? Let's talk about this scene. Let's talk about the scene where they did the cartoon thing where they ejected the old. With the
what do you call it?
I can't remember. It was like a cartoon,
really.
They ejected her out. It's like, what the hell is that all about?
Yeah, right here.
That was kind of out of Monty Python.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
I wish he'd have just closed the TARDIS doors and left her.
That's what I was trying to think. You know, the trebuchet that kind of.
No, I wish that too. I wish that Donna got destroyed because she's not a likable person at all. She's rude. She doesn't listen. She thinks she's great. She thinks she's better than everyone. Even to her family, she thinks she's better than everyone.
And I'm so sad because I used to love her so much. And it's like, that's really hard to feel. It's hard for me to go, why do I hate her so much? Like, why is this bothering me now when it might have back in the day, it didn't bother me as much.
And
I think it's
on and on.
You know more now.
Go ahead, Michelle.
It's because of the way her character's being written now. You know, it's all about, you know, Rose and all that crap in it. And now she's being written in that particular fashion to harp on everything else. Yeah. I mean, I used to love Donna. Now I'm like, oh God, really? So
well, and now, you know, they go on and on and on about, well, boy, you know, Sean will come to visit the spot every week and all. I'm going, you do know that the doctor can get you back literally 1 second after you left.
Exactly.
Well, he didn't.
No, he got her 2 days later, which we see, you know, here.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is the only scene you're going to see Bernard Cribbins in. It's not because he obviously didn't complete his footage.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I couldn't remember. Like, I almost wish it would have been like in the last episode. So this seems kind of like, you know, continuing reasons. Like, obviously, he was probably written to be in more of it.
Yeah.
But then obviously those things are changed later. But I was worried.
I'm even wondering if he was in the last one, and when he couldn't be in the last one, they wrote the dialogue about the doctor was an idiot because he didn't know that he was still alive, type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it is. I guess RTD did come out and say, yeah, this was the only thing we had a chance to film with him.
This is Camden. It's not far from me, actually.
Really?
Wow, a tube ride away, but
wow,
I'd never go there now.
There's planes crashing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Stay away.
And explosions. Yeah, really.
It's just
when I saw Wilf, it was great.
Yeah.
Best
A lot of people cried, apparently.
I mean, I did think that the emotions that everybody played in this scene was perfectly done.
He
Yes.
was.
from all three of them. So
But
I've got to
well,
give him
wait,
that.
this didn't make any sense. He steps out of the TARDIS, right? He sees Wilf, and Wilf going, "Oh, you got to help us." Everybody's normal. Then suddenly, when he says, "You got to help us," everybody acts crazy, and the plane comes over. It's like just
Well, yeah,
right
that's
on
because
cue.
plot. And then
See,
you
this is
just
the
like,
thing. You see, this is what I mean. Doctor Who needs to grow up. The writing needs to grow up. He should have stepped out of the TARDIS, saw the complete chaos. Wilf hiding in the background, finds Wilf. What's going on? That's what should have happened. Not
Yeah.
this stupid.
What's that
illogical rubbish.
female? What's that naked female robot in the background?
it's
I
not a
don't know.
cyber woman. Calm down, Gary.
I don't know what it is. It might be part
It
of that
looks like
shot that's
like
there.
a Metropolis.
Like yeah,
character.
very much Metropolis.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
It might be part of that shop. I don't remember seeing it there when I was in Camden, so maybe it's got something to do with the shop. But we'll see, right? We'll see. But yeah, Wilf, it's a shame, really. He's a great actor, Bernard Cribbins.
Yeah, it was nice seeing him. I love Wilf. Wilf is awesome. I liked when Ten and him traveled together, and I liked them better actually than him and Donna.
That fantastic
to some level.
scene when he had the gun and he wanted to give it to the doctor, and he was talking about what he did in World War II. I think that was one of the best written scenes. RT can write, but it's just now he's gone crazy. So
yeah.
And
he's
I just
drinking
want to
his own
say that
Kool-Aid.
I mean, at least for me, I mean, I'm kind of remembering the poster from before the troll that we had earlier. I mean, I don't think any of us, I think I speak for everybody, we don't hate watch this show. We don't watch thinking, wow, what's Russell going to give me that we can talk about on the stream tomorrow for 2 hours? It's not that, because I think we have so much love for this show, and we know how great that it was, and we know how great it could be with the right person. And for me, it hurts. And I would never take away, like, if somebody is liking this, likes this episode or whatever, I would never say, no, you shouldn't like it, and here's why. There's things, obviously, there's elements in here that I hate because they just don't belong in Doctor Who. But I would never tell anybody, here's why you should not be a fan. I would want to tell, if you like it, let me show you how great it can be. And I would show them like the really great stuff. But it's not a matter of
I think that's
enjoying talking about it.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it, Gary, because a lot of these people don't bother to go watch what came before, because if they did, they would probably they might feel similar. They might have a different perspective. It's kind of like I started with New Who. So when I first watched it, I had no problems with certain things. And I didn't understand fans. Why did you have a problem with the Ten and Rose romance? Why did you have a problem with that? But then I went back and watched, and then I understood why. And then my perception of that changed. So my thing is, I do try to encourage people to go back and watch, especially Classic Who. And watch all of it.
I don't
think
know.
You need to get it.
I didn't mind the romance between Rose and the Doctor. I think the Doctor's allowed one romantic, thing in his life. Because let's face it, if you're 100 and whatever, you're going to meet someone that you click with, and I guess Rose was the character. Yes, he did kiss someone in the movie with Paul McGann, but that was just a kiss, wasn't it? It wasn't anything.
No, it was just meant to be.
It wasn't romantic.
Happy to be. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So I think it was all right, but do it once. That's it. Don't go back to that again. He's fallen in love. He got married apparently to a woman. Anyway, I don't like Alex Kingston. I think that, it's funny. It's funny, right? Because I mean, with all due respect to Russell T and people of that persuasion, they will never cast a woman that actually looks like a really hot woman. And Alex Kingston is not. There are hundreds of women that I would have cast to play that.
I don't know. I think she's all right.
It.
She's got her own look.
She looked like Matt Smith's mum. Come on, let's face it. It's
no, I agree with you there. I think it was cringy. I think it was a little uncomfortable with her and Matt for me. Yeah. I thought that looked weird. But with her and Capaldi, I think it worked better.
Yeah, it worked because they were both the same age.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I think he's older than her, but I think they look more well suited.
Yeah. Yeah, but that they would call us old fashioned for even.
I don't care. Yeah, you know me better. You know me for 4 or 5 years now, it seems. And I don't care. I mean, they can say what they want, and no, we don't hate on Doctor Who to hate on it.
No.
If they write something great, I'll say it. I said some nice things about this episode. But I think that's the reason why I shouldn't have political ideology, because it takes people out, and it kind of takes away from a otherwise okay episode or a good episode, because people are going to be focused on that.
I mean, I had problems
So
with classic anyway. I mean, I never liked Sylvester McCoy's era at
I
all.
know.
I thought it was terrible personally, and I kind of like left Doctor Who when he started. I didn't like Colin Baker's. I thought Colin Baker started off okay, but he was a very you couldn't like that Doctor. He was I don't know, he was very unlikable in my opinion. And then when he left, we had a short man playing spoons. I'm like, yeah, this has turned into it's ridiculous. It's turned into a silly nonsense now. So that's
I like Peter Davison in Big Finish and Caves of Androzani, but I'm not a huge Peter Davison fan. No. So we all have different ones. We all have our likes and dislikes, and that will be like that forever to the end of eternity. But people don't know how to debate anymore. They don't need to know how to. They don't understand our points. They don't want to. They just want what they want. And I think I'm not going to say that all people that like the Jodie era are not classic fans, because there's some. I don't understand them, but there's some. Just like there'll be fans of the classic and all the other that like Judy, and I mean it's all over the place, and that's fine if people like it. Like, I'm just going to say what Gary was saying.
But anybody who says
wonderful.
If there's anybody out there that says Yaz was better than Sarah Jane Smith, they need shock therapy.
Well, who the soggy wet cardboard?
Well, she's
not really a plank of wood. She's just soggy cardboard. I mean, it's just left in the rain, and the sludge for like.
Do you know what?
3 years.
In the rain.
As you get older, right, you realize that when you have a disagreement with someone, you shouldn't even hold a grudge against it. You should just laugh about it and just move on.
Yeah.
Because if you hold all that stuff in, you'll just end up as a grumpy old silly man.
Yeah, but you're a man. You don't know how to let go.
I do. I practice. I can let go, definitely.
I know. You know what? I think the Galactic Gals needs to do a special episode. Seriously, after the anniversary's over, you need to do like a 2-hour special on how to let things go.
Like with how we put a coffin in Jodie Baker, we never talked about it again. Yeah, I think we need another one of those, but for RTD. It's like a roast, it's like a roast of, and then you put it to bed, and then you're good, and you can talk about Stargate Atlantis and UFO and Space 1999 and all those wonderful shows that came before.
But every show has problems, right? I mean,
it does.
Not only Doctor Who, right? Doctor Who's going down a road we don't really like, but let them have it now, because I'm ready to walk away. But it's not like Doctor Who's the only sci-fi show that we have a problem with. I had a problem with Space 1999. The second
season 2. Yeah. Season 2 was terrible. Thank you.
Yeah, Classic Who I have problems with. No show is perft. None.
You didn't like Maya?
Oh, no, I didn't. I thought it was stupid.
No, and actually, it's funny because Jason, his brother, is a big Space 1999 fan, and he was talking about how Maya was hot, and I could hear the conversation in there. It was hilarious. I'm like, wow, they're getting an argument over Space 1999, and it's 2023. But yeah, because it's insane. People are still talking about some of these shows, and there are problems. You're right.
Yeah, we missed them though. I mean, those were simple times as far as I was concerned. I never understood UFO. Thought it was a bit weird. The Jerry.
I have to hear about that every time.
Hot women working on the moon.
I haven't watched
That's all
it
you
yet.
need to understand, Ian. Hot women working on the moon.
And now Jason's a fan of it. So I don't only hear it from Gary. I have to hear it from Jason. You need to watch UFO. It's a great show. I was like, the
only TV series that ever made me want to work on the moon.
With the purple hair and the purple wigs and stuff like that. It's just absolute madness.
Before that was bad.
I mean, Red Dwarf even had problems, didn't it? It went off the rails at one point, didn't it?
When
And
they
then,
brought the chick back.
yeah, it was, yeah. And what's his name wanted to leave, and then he didn't. He tried to have a career in Hollywood, and that failed, and he had to come back. Yeah, Rimmer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So every show has its problems. There's not one show that doesn't have its problems, and Doctor Who is no exception. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't understand why people just think that we rail on everything that's gone off the rails.
Star Trek, Trek, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars is a big one. But we get in trouble for saying anything, so it doesn't matter. So I honestly, if I'm going to get in trouble for saying anything, I don't care. It's like, if you're just going to be mad, just be mad.
Yep, I'm going to be a black sheep till the day I die, so I don't care.
I actually think having an episode talking about like TV shows, like when TV shows went off the rails, like non-Doctor Who, when TV shows went off the rails, would be hilarious.
Even Incredible Hulk went off the rails.
It did. The thing is,
especially
though,
with the movies,
the Incredible Hulk should have just finished in season 2, because you can't keep repeating the same thing. It's the same thing with A-Team. The reason why the A-Team failed, and they kept trying to make it better, because they suddenly added Robert Vaughn in there
in the final season.
Died. Yeah. That the thing is, A-Team was doing the same episode every week, wasn't it? It was the same thing every week. You can't sustain that.
Yeah,
unless you are clever and you like Smallville. When the first season, it was the same thing. It was like a rock fell down, somebody got some powers, they had to stop him. Every episode was like that, and then they changed it for season 2, didn't they? And that's when
they started adding all the Indian lore and everybody from Krypton was there before.
Yeah,
but we'll still watch all these shows in every season. I mean, I Supernatural. There's a point where I'm just like, why did you write this? But I keep watching. I still love it. So I'm still critical of certain things in episodes that I like.
It's so funny that Ian mentioned the A-Team, because that was the same kind of question I always wondered about, like with Fantasy Island. How did somebody contact these people? Yeah. I mean, how did you? Because they're supposed to be off the grid. So how do you contact them to let them know you need help? Or where did you see the ad to, make a reservation on Fantasy Island? I always wanted to know those things.
well, the A-Team, it was an ad in a newspaper, wasn't it? If you can find them, then you can hire the A-Team, right? Okay. That kind of thing. So, but it's again, right? It's the same thing with Knight Rider as well. There's only so many times you could have him drive into town, do the whatever, and ride off again, isn't it? It's the same thing. So, yeah. So I don't know. Fly was good, but unfortunately, only went for one season. Yeah. It's a bit annoying.
I still haven't watched that.
It's good.
But there've been a million like books and comics which apparently have continued on the story.
And they'll bring it back so they can make it woke.
No, hell no. No.
Well, no. They did. So like my mum loves watching old shows. It's like a comfortable glove or shoe, basically. So she watches things like Murder, She Wrote. And she watches that Chuck Norris thing, Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger.
Right, so she loves that because it's got action and stuff. And then
she doesn't watch the new one.
So yes, about to say they brought the new one, and I said to her, "Look, they got the new series," and she just said it was awful. She goes, "Where's Chuck Norris?" Like, Chuck Norris is
right, exactly.
80 years old.
Gary had asked me, "Are you going to watch it?" Because he sees there's a supernatural actor. I'm no, just because the supernatural actor's in it doesn't mean I'm gonna like
Andy,
it.
tell them what you and I were talking about this morning on Discord.
Oh, Stargate Atlantis coming back?
No, Stargate. Well, they've been trying to reboot and remount Stargate for like 8 or 9 years. And it's been in development hell.
It can stay there. Because I'm getting into it. Let me be a fan for a little while before you destroy it. Because I just actually, this is my first run through it, so I'm enjoying it. So please don't take this away from me. I don't have much left. That, and they're talking about bringing Supernatural back, which don't.
Yeah, where are you at in Atlantis?
I'm in season 4, episode 2. I'm taking my time. I'm just, absorbing. And I was up. Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. Why did they kill Beckett off?
Oh, that was heartbreaking. Yes. Oh, I can't say anything.
That's for another
and
stream.
you know what's frustrating is all these long running things, and I think, like Ian said, even Red Dwarf went off the rails a little bit before it course corrected. But we'll keep watching them in the hopes that, well, maybe they'll get back on track. So we can't not watch it.
That's for me. That's not true. I remember when Red Dwarf went off the rails. I stopped watching, and remember that one where they recreated Red Dwarf and they were back on there and all the people were back. I knew that was a stupid idea, so I stopped watching. And then somebody said to me, "Oh, they've gone back to the original format," and then I started watching again. So I do abandon shows. I abandoned Doctor Who when Sylvester McCoy was on. I just thought, no, I can't be watching this, and I abandoned.
Do you feel the need then, when you restart, to go and catch up on all the ones that you missed?
No.
Okay. Wow. See, I need to be you, Ian, because I'm a sad fanboy who has to watch everything.
Well, it's hard because
go on.
Yeah, it's hard because I was the same way. I stopped watching after season 13, no 12 of Jodie Whittaker's era, and I'm thinking, okay, so one day I just got a wild hair and decided I'm going to watch Flux. I'm going to see what all this is about, and I did, and I'm like, why do you do that? Because it's in your mind. I have to know. I just have to know, even if it's bad. I kind of can relate with Gary on that, because it's kind of like, it's like collectors, I was telling Jason, if all three of these episodes of the anniversary are bad, I don't want to collect the set. I'm just not going to. I'm just not going to do it. And if this last one is bad, I'm probably not going to rewatch it either.
Do you know
I'm
what?
Probably never going to go back.
One of my favorite shows of all time, and I can say it as hand on heart, is Columbo.
Oh.
Right? I've watched every 70s episode of Columbo. I love that show so much that I would rewatch those shows because they're so clever and so well written, so well shot. Yeah, fantastic. But I will never watch the 80s version of Columbo. I saw one episode and I thought, no, they should have just left it.
There's only a couple episodes of those that are good, the later ones.
They're awful, especially the one where he's really old. I saw the last episode he ever made, which was on YouTube, and I thought to myself, this is just ridiculous. It's so obvious that he wouldn't even be a policeman at that age. He would have been retired. So that's what I'm saying. It does spoil the memory of what was once great, and that's the reason why they stopped Blackadder. Because they realized that if they carried on from that point, it was going to spoil the memory of it. There's some really clever writers out there that will stop because they know that's where they should stop.
Breaking Bad was a good example, but then they brought Better Call Saul. But I will say Breaking Bad has got to be the most, to me, closest to the most perfect TV show in the last.
It was great.
Yeah,
it's a great series. Yes.
And this just reminded me about, we're talking about some shows that ended right when they should have, like Faulty Towers. They did 2 seasons, 12 episodes. Wasn't it about a year and a half ago, there was all that news that John Cleese was coming and they were rebooting it? Whatever happened to that?
I don't know.
Because that was a long time ago that it seemed like it was imminent that they were bringing back Faulty Towers.
Well, he's on the cancel list, so.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But he is actually. But as I said, there are shows that should have stopped. Like I love Dexter, and they should have stopped that at season.
I tried to watch that, and we tried to watch that, and I'm like, one episode. I think I got in one episode.
All right, I did like that show.
You said your mom. You said your mom Ian, was a big Murder She Wrote. You said your mom was a big Murder She Wrote fan.
Yeah.
Was she real? Did you tell her that Jessica Fletcher was the actual killer all along for all 12 seasons?
All of them. You know what? Right, the same people that created Columbo created Murder She Wrote. Would you believe? So it was it's the same writers. But I don't understand it. Not only does my mum watch Murder She Wrote, but every person of my mum's age watched Murder She Wrote. It seems like they gravitate towards that.
That and Matlock.
Oh, Matlock.
Yeah, that was the other one. Yeah.
But they would do crossovers
Matlock's
before
a good
we had
series.
crossovers, right? Matlock crossover with Perry Mason. what's that? Jessica Fletcher crossed over with Magnum. Do you ever see
That's
those
right.
episodes?
Yep.
You know, they did crossovers before crossovers was a thing, I guess, in those days. But yeah.
And
Anyway,
Doctor Who really never did that too much.
They did it with Sarah Jane. I guess that's a crossover.
Yeah,
right?
they
Yeah.
did that. But
Class.
I mean something that's kind of, kind of the same genre, but not the same universe. I think that's what I meant. Like,
right. I know. The Rockford Files was one of the shows that I loved watching, and
That was really
and they did a bit of crossovers as well with a few of the characters from other shows. So yeah, I mean, it was there. It's just because of Marvel's gotten it's gotten bigger, isn't it? Crossover in this, that.
I used to
Yeah.
watch Rockford Files with my dad.
Did you?
Yeah.
I did like Rockford Files. It used to be on BBC One at 9:00 because in those days we didn't have our own shows. So basically, they would buy in American imports. The biggest one was Dallas. Dallas was huge
Oh, yeah.
over
Oh,
here.
gosh.
Dallas was so big, right? Look, I was in Texas last year and I did the Dallas tour, right? And the guy in the bus. This is so funny. Me and my sister, right? We paid for it. And we're waiting at this spot where the bus will pick us up. And the bus turns up and the door opens and the guy goes, "Are you the Diaz's?" And we go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Right, come in. So we came in and there was no one on the bus. A 27-seater bus. It was just me and my sister. And he was like,
Oh,
"It was not hearing about Dallas anymore." Do you know what I mean? It's like, and he told us that for season 1, Larry Hagman, right? He asked for a pay rise and it was unheard of in those days. And so the producer was thinking of getting rid of him. But what he did was very clever. He knew that he was popular. He went to England. He left America. He went to England when the season finished and went on all shows like Wogan and, chat shows. And people were asking him, "Are you coming back as JR?" Blah, blah, blah. And so the American company had no choice but to bring him back because he was getting popular in Europe. Everywhere he went, he was getting mobbed. And they saw that.
Wow.
So Larry Hagman got a pay rise.
Oh,
So there you
smart.
go.
That was really
Smart. Good for him.
Yeah, smart.
So next week is the finale. So if you guys, I mean, you and Gary want to come back, let me
Sure.
know. I know Gary will.
Yeah.
Hopefully, unless you have some plans.
Yeah,
but I
and
don't
he
know.
knows I don't have any. I'm never doing.
You don't have a life.
I don't have a
Right.
life.
You're always available. But yeah, I'm very interesting. So before we go, I'd like to get your thoughts about maybe the next episode and what do you think is going to occur? Any kind of speculations and rumors you've heard about it before we go? So, Michelle, what do you think is going to happen in the Giggle? How do you think that's going to go?
I hope it's anything but a musical. I don't want to go down that path, because I know that Jinx's character can, sing, which is fine, but leave that out of it. Obviously, I think Tennant's going to regenerate because in the preview you see the energy coming off him. But I'm like, okay, so how's that going to work? Is Donna still with him? I don't know. I'll have to just wait.
Yeah, there's been some rumors about a wonky regeneration.
Oh yeah, there's been wackadoodle rumors out there.
Yeah.
Oh, figures.
So what about you, Gary?
Part of me, if only to see the storm that it would cause on social media, that rumor that says Donna and Rose are going to combine and collectively regenerate into Shooty. Part of me almost wants that to happen just to see the reaction that would cause. While I just sit back and kind of, see it
like
all
Dr.
melt down.
Evil?
I think, in a lot of ways, I almost feel like I've already seen the next episode. I mean, we've been seeing shots of Neil Patrick Harris dancing around for 14 months now. And, I'm already tired of that scene where he does the American Beauty thing where he's in the bathtub with the roses. But I don't know. I think that, it's hard to say. I mean, the Celestial Toymaker character, it could be a really surreal episode. I mean, with that character, you can just have really surreal stuff, which could make it interesting. But I don't know. It's like I said, it just so far, it's just the 60th anniversary has been underwhelming, as far as the TV stuff. So I honestly don't know what to think.
All right. How about you, Ian?
Well, I think what's going to happen is that the Doctor's going to get told off by a lot of women. So he's going to get told off by the head of unit.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and he's going to get told off by Donna again, and all that kind of stuff. Neil Patrick Harris is going to come along, and he's going to dance and maybe even sing. Good luck with that. And at the ending, there was so. For instance, I kind of hoped, but they probably won't do this. I hoped that David Tennant wasn't David Tennant. It was a trick from the Toy Master, and basically he was just an image of the David Tennant character, but he was always shooty all along. That's what I reckon.
Would that qualify him as a separate Doctor then?
I don't know, and I don't care.
You know what? I want to add. I hope that what Ian and Michelle were just talking about. I think if they do a musical, I want them to go like full on Fame. I want Neil Patrick Harris to be jumping on the hood of a car. I want him to be jumping on the hood of a car and dancing around. I mean,
but
and wear leg warmers. Yeah.
You know, Russell T said there's this picture of this guy walking into the Emporium, which is the shop.
Yes.
He said that's a big famous. That's a star.
HG?
He won't give it away. But do you know what? I reckon it's going to be some minor star.
Yeah, it'll be somebody like, that guy.
Yeah, that guy from the BBC's TV show that was on yesterday.
You don't think it'll be HG, Ian?
Look, it's funny because when they made the Five Doctors and they were talking about John Hurt and they were like, oh, he's a big Hollywood star. No, John Hurt is not a big Hollywood star. Brad Pitt is a big Hollywood star. George Clooney is a big Hollywood star. But I'm sorry, John Hurt is a movie star. That's it. You know, he's not. I'm sorry, he's a film star. He's not a movie star. There's a big difference there. And Russell T is saying this guy that's walking to the shop is a movie star. So I'm hoping it's Hugh Grant, to tell you the truth.
Maybe it's Tom Cruise, maybe.
Huh? Oh, it could be. But,
please.
And then there's another picture of them sneaking in this person into the studio, and they're saying that's to do with this episode as well. So hopefully it will be Matt Smith. If it was Matt Smith, I'd be happy. Do you know what I mean? But it probably won't. So, but
do we think that Kate Stewart's going to look at Tennant and go, "Oh, weren't you just a woman?" Or something like that.
Yeah,
I liked you better as a woman.
Yeah, probably.
You were smarter as a woman. You were better looking as a woman.
More brilliant.
Anyway, that's what's going to happen.
What do you think, Andy?
See it. I don't know. At this point, I really don't know. I mean, you could have monkeys flying, pigs flying. You know, it's a circus. You know, people dancing around in tutus. I don't even know if I care anymore. I don't know. I thought I do. I heard that maybe there was going to be a Dr. Donna, like she didn't actually let go of the energy, and that somehow that she was going to regenerate into Shooty because she still has that Doctor energy. So it's technically the Doctor, and then possibly, I don't know, Tennant could just die, and then that would kill the line. That's a rumor going around.
There's also the split rumor that's going around.
Yeah, which is sort of it. But I've heard that Tennant was going to die, so who knows?
That time and all.
Yeah.
Remember, one of the rumors that was going around for last night's episode was that Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi were going to appear as dark shadow versions of the Doctor.
I would have loved that.
It's like. And then you look at what we got. It's like, where do these?
I'm like, look, that would have actually been better. I mean, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi both play great villains, and I would have loved to see that. But again, I'm glad that Peter Capaldi and Matt Smith didn't mar themselves. Well, hopefully, they're not in it.
David's all for this, isn't he? He's all for what Russell T is doing. So I mean, you know, out of all of them, I think I'm disappointed in him totally. But you know. If that's what he thinks, that's what he thinks, and
they all think like that. Really, some of them are quieter about it.
I don't think Matt Smith likes this era at all, and I know.
No, he's made snide comments about it.
Peter Capaldi hates it.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Do you have a source that says I want to know the juicy details?
I'll tell you after the broadcast is finished.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, that's it, guys, because I want to know what Ian's going to tell me. So see you guys next week. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Ta-da.